Hey, Tayo has decided to watch on X instead of YouTube. And Lucky is not new. He's 3 months old. I've only had him for almost a month now. Have I had you for a month now? Maybe. 2 days in a row. Yeah, I mean, I often do Thursdays and Fridays, don't I? But not usually just chatting. I considered doing actual streams with content, but I figured I would let people talk if they want to. Also, I just finished my last class for my master's degree. In 2 weeks, I am going to be starting my internship. Honestly, Lucky is the first. Please don't bite me. Thank you. Lucky is the first time I've bought a pet. I don't usually buy, I usually adopt, but I wanted a golden doodle. I got one. And I wanted a puppy. I got one. Thank you, William. Is the mental health of California better for it? Is it? I don't know. Jonathan!
Mazel tov.
For what? Oh, finishing my classes? Yeah. I actually finished on Sunday, but yeah.
It's never too late for Mazel tov.
Never too late for a mazel tov. No. Will you stop biting me? Thank you.
That's what you get when you get a dog.
This is true.
I'm not a dog person.
What
Maybe I
is
should.
your master's in? My master's is in social work. Ryan Cameron. Hello, welcome. And Taya decided to leave X because nobody actually watches anything on X.
I know it's good for the view numbers.
Well, I mean,
not really.
yeah, especially X. Like the numbers never go down, so it claims that like lots of people are watching on X, but anybody who sees, who even
Right.
sees the stream gets counted. Unfortunately, not enough psych classes in my master's of social work. Too much woke studies, but it is what it is. But I finished the classes, and
Cats
Shadow
are better.
would agree. Cats are better.
All 10 out of 10 cats would agree.
Well, I don't know. Cats are kind of like Jews. I'm not sure any 10 cats can agree to one thing.
It's 10 cats, 11 litter boxes, right? Or 2 cats, 3 litter boxes.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
Ron!
Hi, guys. Jacob.
Hey,
And who's the other guy? I can't read. I'm driving. I don't want to
Jonathan.
die.
Don't read, just
Hi,
drive.
Jonathan.
Hi.
I won't. But thanks. So what you guys talking about? What's news? Who are we talking about behind their back? I want to gossip.
You.
Let's talk about Paul. Oh, really? I want to talk about me. Yeah.
Let's talk about you. Enough about me. Let's talk about you.
No, what's up? Yeah. Sorry. No, what's happening? Seriously.
We were just
What's good?
sitting around. Nothing.
Nothing's happened.
Nothing's happening.
Just
What do you want to
wander
talk about?
Well, actually, I have a question for you. Nothing too deep. Is California as crazy as the uh, news reports, like ICE getting in fights, or is it woke news just having a good time lying?
Okay, so California, believe it or not, I have been able to walk my dog and rarely see any homeless people because the city has decided, since we're going to have um, the Olympics soon, they're actually going to enforce the law a
Yeah,
little. California is not completely insane. You can come here and live a pretty
yeah,
normal life. At the same time, when you go to the local grocery store,
yeah.
everything is locked behind everything valuable is locked behind
Yeah,
something, and there are special aisles with somebody guarding the aisle
yeah,
because since it's become legal to steal anything under $500, um, yeah,
yeah.
like the police won't actually do anything if somebody walks into a um, a grocery store and decides to take something and leave. So
That's pretty evil. I'm sorry.
it, it's pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy, but
Okay.
at the same time,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
not it's not like it's actually dangerous for most things.
Oh, I
So
didn't think it was. I didn't. I never thought that.
yeah,
I
but
just, I just didn't know.
as far as ICE, I mean, people in Los Angeles, like there's a lot of people who are not legal immigrants here in Los Angeles, and they are very, very concerned because people are actually being deported.
What is, and I hate to be so blunt. Is this a good thing? I really, I'm not trying to be a right.
I'll I'll tell you a story. I
Right.
have I have um, I know many people who are illegal immigrants, and I know many people who are very opposed to illegal immigration. And I I am an immigrant myself. I have family members who want to immigrate to the United States and have been waiting in line for a visa for years now. Um, and they don't come here illegally and just try to make it happen. At the same time, I won't forget I had somebody come into my office because he needed some services, uh, who told me about how his wife was illegal and they had 3 kids, and he had been trying to get her legal status, and this was the first Trump administration. The Obama administration had told them, if she leaves the country and applies to come back in legally, we'll approve it. And so she flew to Mexico and went to the consulate, and they said, no, you can't come back. And that was the Trump administration. And so I have a lot of sympathy for people like that who have been living here for many years. I know people who've
Yeah.
been living here for 20 years.
Yeah.
And like, I would like to have a sane political debate and sane policies, but that's not going to happen as long as we're not having real discussions where the two sides are speaking to each other in sane ways, right? And
Yeah.
some people are not willing to admit that being here illegally is illegal, and that's bad. You know, like,
Wait, if you can't decide if a boy is a boy or a girl, don't like yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
Jacob. There was a joke there. I'm like, yeah, okay.
no, seriously. I mean, look, when you have, and for me, it gets really crazy when people talk about, oh, separating families because the parents did something illegal, and it's like, well, what do you think social workers do when any parent goes to jail? You know, it's like, yeah, parents who do illegal things get separated from their children. This is
Are
not
is
news.
ICE is my I guess my question is more so, is ICE being immoral or unethical?
I'm sure some of them are. I
Oh,
mean,
no, I got you.
yeah,
That's not.
I haven't witnessed anything like that, and I
Yeah.
can't believe a lot of the reporting, because frankly, there's a lot of people here in Los Angeles, and I see signs all over the place where people are like, get rid of ICE and no person is illegal, and
Right.
so I have a very, very hard time actually believing that right now illegal immigrants are getting treated worse than the LAPD treats everybody else. Because
Okay.
guess what? The LAPD's not. I'm not a huge fan of the LAPD either. You know,
Okay.
I support cops because cops would be good. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm not one of these people who believes that every cop, is some sort of saint who can
Oh,
do
listen, hey,
wrong.
dude, listen. In my buddies before I got saved, they knew the cops that were dealing, so we don't even have to. We don't have to go down that road. I got you. So, thank you for asking my first question. So, the next question on this interview, if you decide to answer it, there's bonus points.
Yeah.
What do you think of the election in New York? Is that the canary in the coal mine? What do you think?
Good question. I mean, we did have an election stream, and I was certainly surprised by the results. I thought
Right.
that because there was a high turnout election, there that Mamdani would hopefully lose, and he certainly
Yeah.
did not.
Right.
And frankly, I mean, if I lived in New York, I would leave the city limits at least. I can't. I cannot. I will never. And I've said this before. I am never going to be ruled by Muslims again.
How
That's
long
not
were
going
you
to
ruled?
happen.
How long were you ruled by Muslims?
I was 7 when we left Iran.
What do you remember?
Only very bad things.
Tell me the dark secret. Tell me your wounds, Jacob. Tell me what. Let me. No, seriously. I like.
No, my dad was convicted of being a Zionist spy and went to jail for that.
Oh no. Are
Like,
you serious?
yes, along with thousands of other people.
Right. Sure. I
And
got
my
you.
dad went to jail for 6 months, which should tell you how much they actually believed he was a Zionist spy.
Right. Yeah. Why did they pick on him? Just because that's what you do
Because we
when you
tried,
have.
no, because we tried to leave the country.
Oh. How did
Yeah.
you leave the country? How did you get out?
So my mom, my sister, and I bribed somebody for an exit visa,
Good. Right.
and then my dad had to cross the border by walking 3 nights
Dude.
in the middle of the night through the hills in across the border with Turkey.
Did he have a coyote?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Jason wants me to tell you the
Dude.
story about my father and the Psalms. I wasn't sure if I was going to tell that story again. It's funny. PVK just rebroadcast my first
I
interview
saw
with
that.
him.
A little bit with it.
Yeah, so I told that story. I told that story. Okay, I'll tell the story again. So there's a psalm, right? It's Song of Ascents. I raise my eyes to the
Yeah.
mountains. From where will my help come?
Yeah.
Right? And in our liturgy, in the Sephardic liturgy,
Right.
in the evening prayers, we recite that song.
Right.
And there's a line in that psalm that says, "Bayom hashemesh lo yakeka ve'yareach balayla." During the day, the sun will not strike you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the moon at night. So my dad told me that when he learned Hebrew and he knew what the words meant, it always bothered him. What does that mean? The moon at night, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the sun won't hit you at day, but what does it mean that it won't hit you at night? The moon won't hit you at night. So when my dad was trying to get out of Iran, he did have coyotes, and so what they did was they would sleep during the day, and they would walk at night. And the night that they got to the border with Turkey, right? There was a ravine they had to go across. So my dad was on a hill, and there were hills across, right? And it was a full moon. And so if you've ever been out in the middle of yes, coyote is at least California slang for people who get you across the border. And my dad, he saw how bright the moon was, and he got kind of scared, like he would be seen because it was so bright. And he said he remembered the psalm, Shir Hamalot Esai El Haharim Ain Yavo Ezri. Song of Ascents, I raise my eyes to the mountains. Where will my help come from? Right?
Yeah.
Yanum Shomrecha. Behold, your guardian does not sleep. Bayom Hashemesh lo yakeka v'yarach balayla. In the day, the sun will not strike you, and the moon at night. He said, at that moment, all my fear went away, and I just walked calmly straight across.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
I like that.
It's even better. Like the Hebrew, I think, kind of does it for you. Yoav, does the Hebrew do it for you? How you doing, Yoav?
I
I'm
just had a
doing
moment of
fine.
robot. I'm sorry, robot. Is it me or
Yoav
Jacob?
joined us, so he's. I'm guessing. I'm guessing you already had dinner with your family.
Yeah, can I ask somebody please to mute his mic because of driving noises?
Yeah, Ron. I'm gonna mute you.
Oh,
You
that's
can.
yeah,
Oh, there you go. You can. I'm gonna mute yourself.
yeah,
Yes, Mr. Yoav.
yeah. So yes, it's 11 at night here, and since we have the new baby, we have the family dinner quite early.
You have a new baby. I'm guessing it's a grandchild, not a child.
Yes, I mean you know about it. He's about year old now.
Okay.
So it starts about 4 o'clock when I drive out to Tel Aviv to fetch them,
Aha.
and then the baby has to go to sleep. So anyway, 11 o'clock is already after the family dinner, which was very pleasant. We had my mother coming over as well.
Mm.
She's over 90. And
Ad 120.
yeah, I mean, she's going strong. She shows no signs of stopping.
I don't know if you've heard, but in the United States, eating Shabbat dinner has become quite controversial.
Why?
Jonathan's like, don't even bother. Don't even talk about it.
What is this all
Briefly.
about?
Briefly, because I have things to say. So just briefly.
No. Your things to say are more important, I think, than the Shabbat dinner.
I'm curious.
There has been a fight within one of the most probably the most important conservative think tank in the United States, because some people invited other people to come to Shabbat dinner, and other people were uncomfortable with going to Shabbat dinner, supposedly because they're too Catholic to go to Shabbat dinner, and it's become a huge thing over the past couple of days. We can talk about it at length later, but it's a whole involved thing. Yeah.
Okay, I of course didn't get it at all, but yeah, we might talk about it later. Well,
Hey, I gotta go. Congratulations on the new baby.
thanks. Well, it's going to miss something. A few days ago, I went on your Just Talking stream and I talked about the big news coming from Israel, the earthquake, the earth-shattering news. And I thought, I know things about Israel. I know a few hours before you. And of course, this big news is going to hit it internationally. It's going to cause a huge storm all over the world. And a few days have passed and you don't even know what I'm talking about. And that's curious because, Israel is always on top of the news. And especially since this story can be spawned to be quite libelous about Israel. You can present Israel in quite a bad light telling this story. I thought people would be telling it. And it's quiet, which just shows you that this is really a significant moment. And I think everybody's stunned and don't know how to spin it. Everybody just waiting to see how it spins. The latest news, just from when the Shabbat entered a few hours ago, is that they have found the phone.
They have found the phone.
Okay. So you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about because when you tell me something is important, I pay attention. At the same time, I have to say, I am not at all surprised that. I mean, it has not hit American news at all, and I don't think it will.
So why?
My guess is that she was probably working very closely with people in the United States intelligence community.
You're ruining my punchline.
I'm sorry, but is it that surprising?
Oh, it's so unsurprising.
What surprises you about the head of military investigations in
The head of military, the chief military attorney.
Yeah, she's the
chief military
equivalent
attorney.
to the Judge Advocate General of the U.S. Army.
Yes.
And she was a major general, which is a major general is a 3-star general, right?
We don't have stars, but it is as high as you can possibly get without being just at the top.
A major general is how many stars? I'm looking up because I don't know. Yeah, we don't have major generals here. So I think a major general is it's a 2-star. Okay, 2-star. So
we don't have the star system, but it's as high as you can get. It's a small army. You don't have so many stars.
You can have up to 6 stars in the United States, although it's been many decades since anybody's had more than 5. But anyway, so she was a major general, and yeah, I expect she had a lot of connections with American military and American intelligence community, and I expect that. Look, it's the establishment is being shaken up in a lot of ways.
Yeah, to Jon God, this sexual violation video, it's all over the internet, I'm sure. Watch it several times. It has no sexual violation recorded in it. And it's actually stitched from at least 2 different videos taken 2 different times, 2 different places, none of them involving the case under study. And that was the video that was leaked.
This happened in Israel, Ron. Honestly, I mean, it's a lot. It's complicated, and it's more detailed than anybody in the United States has patience to actually pay attention to.
Yeah, I realized that. Yeah,
and in order to explain what happened, first you have to go back and explain what the slander was. And there's a lot of people who don't even want to talk about what happened because that's a whole thing.
Yes, but that what happened or hasn't happened is not the issue. The issue is a statement given by the chief attorney of Israel, not even the army attorney, that yes, a thorough investigation has been conducted about this leak, and everybody's been questioned about it, and there's no way we can ever find whoever leaked it. And anyway, there was no damage done to the security of Israel by this leak, and therefore the investigation will not go on. And this is a statement to the Israel Supreme Court by the people who actually leaked the video.
Yeah.
This is more serious than the leak. because the covering of the crime is always
The cover.
more serious than the crime.
Do you
and-
actually think the Israeli Supreme Court is mad at her for this? Because
I
am
will
one of
just
the
track
people-
towards. I will just track towards at her.
Exactly. Oh. Because she got caught like an idiot.
Yes,
I am still of the belief that Aaron Barak is the king, Melech Israel. He's the king who rules over all things Israeli. And frankly, I would be completely unsurprised if the phone shows that was found has texts with the current ruling king of Israel, Aaron Barak, on it. But that's
Well,
just me.
this is what's interesting about this affair. Everything is possible now. Everything, including the fact that it is well just a squirrel and there's nothing on the phone. This is also a very high probability.
If there was anything to be found on the phone, I actually think she would have gone ahead and destroyed it. I don't think the suicide thing was a cover up for trying to destroy the phone.
You rightly said the suicide things. And for people who are not following the story, I will go back back in time from the end to the beginning. So the phone was found, and it's a beach, actually within a walking distance from my house.
Okay.
And a woman was swimming with a friend at the beach, about 1 kilometer of a swim there and back. And at the depth of 6 feet, she suddenly, the water was very clear at the day, and she sees an iPhone on the bottom of the sea. Now, everybody in Israel already know about the missing phone. So she dives 6 feet and recovers the phone. And she gets out of the water, and she the phone is working. This is also amazing news. An iPhone in the water, in the sea water for a couple of days, 6 feet in the water, is still functioning. Not only recoverable, but functioning. And the battery is still on. And okay, she fumbles through a few pictures, and she sees the pictures of this famous woman that is all over the news, and she realizes, yes, this is the phone, the phone that everybody's looking for, that I found.
You're making this sound a lot more suspect than I originally gave it. Credit for.
Nothing in this story is going to be believable from the end to the start, but it's all true. I mean, as much as I can be sure of anything being true, you can look up any news source in Israel from the left to the right. They will all agree of the facts that I'm telling you. Motivations of people and whether it's a squirrel or it's a red herring or a false flag, this is all up to your interpretation. But the fact that I'm telling you are true also. Okay, so now she's on the beach, and everybody, the crowd is gathering around. Hey, she's found the phone, she's found the phone, she's found the phone. And a man coming to her, and he's a famous man because he's been on television for 2 days now. And he's promising something like $50,000 to whoever finds the phone. Because he wants to be the one that brings it to the police. And he was conducting a private search party, combing the beach, and he was bringing phones to the police and said, "Oh no, this is not the right phone. This is not the right phone." Until the Israeli beach was clean of phones. It's the greatest phone cleaning operation on an Israeli beach ever. And she says, "Oh, you found the phone. I'm going to give you $50,000. Just give me the phone and I'll bring it to the police and you get the money."
Mhm.
And she's suspicious. She didn't give him the money, and the phone is now in the custody of the police. Question: who are the police? Who is the investigator in this case? Which I haven't told you what the case was. The problem is that all of the prosecution chain is contaminated with it. You're hard pressed to find anybody who's or has any experience or made any name for himself that is not a suspect in the case. So there's a great problem of who is this police that you're going to surrender the phone to. Okay, so that's the end of the story. Going back a couple of days before this weekend, the chief attorney of the army, whatever title you said was the equivalent, what was the title equivalent?
Attorney, Judge Advocate General.
Yes. She's already fired from her position. And strangely enough, she's not in the custody of the police and she's not in the cellars of the Secret Service for what she already admitted of doing.
Mhm.
But she's at home, waiting to such day in which the police will kindly agree to question her about her crimes. And she leaves a note in her house, sort of a goodbye Cold War note. She takes the car to this beach, within walking distance of my house, and she leaves a goodbye Cold War note in her car and walks into the sunset, which in Israel the sunset is direction of the sea. Couple of hours later, when her family gets worried, and people in the army, because she is a high-ranking general in the army, and a high-ranking general is missing, you begin looking for for her. And so there's a huge operation with helicopters and illuminations bombs and divers and ships. And all of the Israeli police and army are looking for her at the beach. It took them 2 hours to find her, and she was alive and well, and her clothes were not even wet. But her phone was missing.
I didn't know her clothes weren't wet. Okay. Uh-huh.
I will not swear on it, but this is an item in one news article. And
Why wouldn't she jump in the water?
Why would her phone be missing if she didn't jump in the water? That's my
Why
question.
wouldn't you just jump in the water?
I don't know.
It takes so little. It covers up a multitude of problems. Oh, it just kind of stumbled out of my hand. Like,
Oh,
jump in the
and
water.
then the police finally arrests her. I mean, not immediately, because suddenly she's not the high-powered girl boss that she always used to be. Now she is the feeble woman and
Of course.
her mother, who's been insulted and reputation thrashed by the yellow press. And she's emotionally hurt. And you cannot arrest her immediately. You have to give her some time to recover from the ordeal. Finally, she gets arrested and questioned. The news is that by now she's back home, because she's been questioned already. How many questions can you ask? So she's back home already. Going back in time, was a WhatsApp group
Mhm.
of all the high-ranking attorneys in the army.
Of course.
Order of magnitude to 10 of them, maybe only 8, maybe only 6, but all of the office of the general attorney of the army. And in this WhatsApp group, they were discussing whether to leak this famous video or not. And she, the head of the group, decides to actually leak it to Channel 12. And her reasons for that is that there are fake news spreading in the public, that this affair that started the whole thing may be not actually rape, because it was advertised as rape. Actually, there was not even a suspicion or allegation of rape. At the moment it stands as a grievous bodily harm. Rape was never on the cards. But at the time, she was afraid that the narrative of rape is not catching very well in the Israeli public. The Israeli public is not very quick to buy the story. And she decided it was necessary to leak this fake cooked up video in order to battle these fake news that are coming from the irresponsible right-wing press. And this is the big news here, the important news. And I've been telling you for a while. There is a new Channel 14 and affiliated radio station, religious right-wing television channel,
Mhm.
and it is completely destroying the left narrative. I mean, demolishing the left narrative. I mean, this whole affair will never come to see the day of light without Channel 14, because it's Channel 12, the left-leaning channel, that leaked the story. And it means that the editorial of Channel 12 thought it would be a good idea if at the start of the trial you will broadcast a movie that not only destroy any chances of fair trial, but also will not be, let's say, not favorable to the image of Israel abroad. So Channel 14 is destroying them. The statistics now is like 70% of the supporters of the coalitions watch Channel 14, while I say 70% of the supporters of the opposition are watching, let's say, Channel 12. But naturally, there are more supporters of the coalition. By virtue of the elections and the future election, there are more people supporting the coalition. Therefore, there are more people watching Channel 14. And they are so confident that they are broadcasting snippets of broadcasts of Channel 12 just to show their audience how ridiculous Channel 12 is. So don't bother to switch channels. We'll give you the snippets.
Yeah.
And their influence towards the next elections in a year, barring no disaster, the legal next elections are within a year from now. Bibi is going to take those elections walking.
You think so?
The most watched television channel is on his side. I mean, as much as a Jew can be on the side of another Jew, yes? They disagree on so many points that you will not believe, but there will be no question which sides to vote for.
Uh-huh.
So this is the news. This is the great news. I think I will stop at that because if I go any further, I will go into the American influence into the politics, which I don't want to get into.
No,
I-
that's the part I
have-
care about.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This Major General, you mentioned her mother. Does she come from a prominent family?
Did I mention her mother?
You said they were saying her mother's.
She is a mother.
Oh, she is a mother. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I mean, when you begin to investigate, you see that all of them have family ties. It goes all the way to the president of the state.
She's related to Herzog?
Not, I mean, it is I mean, we're Jews, you know, we're all related. In the final analysis, and they're all Ashkenazi Jews.
Of course.
So if you just look for,
Was that a joke?
No, it's
Oh, okay.
no.
Okay. This is kind of-
Is Israel's left-wing ruling party is right wing as well, but certainly the left wing, like the old school. They're all Ashkenazi. They all come from the same kibbutzim. And the military brass in Israel is very much from that same Ashkenazi kibbutz Hebra there.
Got it. So it's not Sephardic and Yemenis or Yemeni. It's Ashkenazi, which is like all of European Jewry, right?
Basically, definitely when you start talking about what used to be the Labor Party, not that it exists anymore, but
it's called the Democrats. The leftovers of the Labor Party is now changed their name to the Democrats, which teaches you a lot. They really changed their name to the Democrats.
I get it. Yeah.
No, people watching us may not believe me. So people may think that I'm just out of my mind. But check it.
Yeah. The Israeli left has collapsed, but the elites of the Israeli left definitely has not collapsed. The people who Am Haaretz, as I like to call them, the people who read Haaretz, they're still there. Yeah. For those who don't get the joke, Am Haaretz is Hebrew for ignorant person.
Isn't it literally like people of the land?
Yes. And the
Of-
name
of the land, Haaretz.
Yes, exactly. And the Haaretz it was the New York Times of Israel. Now it's become a rump of itself, but yeah, like the New York Times has, but it's a lot less influential than it was, but it's still, it is what it is.
It's the LA Times. Well, it was the New York Times. Now it's the LA Times now.
It's more like it was the New York Times, and now it's more like the New York Post, but on the left.
Mm-hmm.
But it's taken. I mean, as far as I know, Yoav would know better than me. But I don't think the intellectuals in Israel read Haaretz anymore, do they?
They subscribe to Haaretz because
You have.
If you have to. And my mother was subscribing to Haaretz up to a couple of months ago. And I really had to lobby her hard to do two things.
Yeah.
First of all, to unsubscribe from Haaretz, and second, to stop watching television. Because at her age, she's taking second pills and she's liable to depression if she's not careful. And if a person is liable to depression, you better watch the music channel. Yeah, whenever I come to visit her, and it's often, I just switch off the television from the news channel to two things you can watch on television. First is the music channel,
Yeah.
and the second, the Chinese channel.
There's a
Because
Chinese.
because the Chinese channel will always show you what's good and healthy in China. So you have 24/7 things that are good and healthy.
Hold on, is the Chinese channel in Chinese or in Hebrew?
No, there's no Chinese channel in Hebrew, but
Okay.
it's just pictures of China,
Uh-huh.
and they're all beautiful, and the
Propaganda.
people are always beautiful, and everybody's happy, and everybody's dancing, and everybody's well fed, and this is what I wanted to watch at her age.
So to explain what's going on here in the United States, the heritage, yeah.
Well, unless it's related, but before you do that, I want to just, Yoav, where is this all going? In your estimation?
Well, there is a great constitutional crisis, has been for a year now.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's trying to be the responsible adult in the room and not get things blowing up in times of war. The problem with the rule of this chief attorney, the one that was giving a false statement to the courts in this affair. The name of the position in Hebrew is the consultant to the government, the legal consultant to the government.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, yes, it was I'm a clerk. If you had a question about some legal matter, you go to the consultant and you will give you an advice about some legal matter. Now, the Supreme Court decided the following, that if the legal consultant gives an advice to the government, then if the government is not following the advice, then the government is breaking the law. And therefore, the government must do whatever the consultant is telling them to do. So she has become the ultra-uber prime minister. And yes, the prime minister is deciding what to do in times of war, but only what she tells him that he can decide. And if he decides something that he cannot decide, then it is cancelled. And she's the one that is now facing an investigation about this case. So but that was a process that's going for many years in many democratic countries. Take England, for example. England didn't used to have a Supreme Court at all. And now they have a Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court may decide that, whatever the parliament decided is actually not valid, and other things may be valid. So there goes your parliamentary system of so many hundreds of years. So a similar process has been going on in Israel. Jonathan will perhaps pay for the Bressler report. Be careful about which Bressler you select, because there are other Bresslers in the world, for example, Shikma Bressler. And if you want the alternative view, if you want to hear, you have to hear the two sides.
Yeah, the Bresslers
So if you
report.
want to hear the other side, then read the Shikma Bressler report.
Team up.
So the Supreme Court has to decide whether they are going to give up their attempt to rule the country, or whether they're going to stick to their guns.
What do you think they're going to do?
I don't know. It's up to the Supreme Court to decide. How can I make the decision for them?
Well, what do you think they're going to do?
They have to make an estimation of their power.
predict. Is there a poly market for this one?
Is there what?
A poly market
Betting
for
market.
betting market? You're on Zero Hedge. You've seen this, right? Poly market.
I don't believe there's a poly market on this one.
Well, I am on Zero Hedge, but the term poly market escapes me.
Yeah, poly market is one of those crypto prediction markets, unregulated. So you can bet like markets can be created and you can bet on them. So what is the Supreme Court of Israel going to do by usually it's set up in a falsifiable proposition. So Supreme Court of Israel will do X by 2027.
I think the problem is obviously the Supreme Court doesn't want to give up any of its quite considerable power.
No, all right.
The question is, what can they do? And frankly, I don't think it's in their hands, but Yoav might disagree. It seems to me that the question is, what does the Israeli public think of any changes in how members of the Israeli Supreme Court are selected? Because
Okay.
right now it's self-selected. The current members choose the future members.
The left is very vocal, as they tend to. The right is very civilized and doesn't rock the boat. So you don't see huge demonstrations from the right, or any demonstrations from the right. Clearly, by result of any elections or any poll, the vast majority is on the right. 65 of 120 seats for the right, and that the rest has to split between the Jewish opposition and the Arab opposition. So the Jewish opposition is tiny. The question is, who has the real power? Who has the guns? Yeah, and eventually the Supreme Court will have to yield to whoever carries the real power. And I keep telling you, the chain of events that led to this phone being found is the following. A bullet misses Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump gets elected. A day before that, Bibi Netanyahu replaces his Minister of Defense. Few months later, the new Minister of Defense replaces the Chief of Staff of the Army. After a huge fight with the Supreme Court, taking over about a year, they managed to replace the head of the Secret Services. Couple of weeks after they changed the head of the Secret Services, we have the peace treaty. And now we have a situation when the current chief of the Secret Services is requesting an important document from his three retired predecessors, and his three retired predecessors are refusing to hand him the document. So he could arrest his three retired predecessors, but that would not be the responsible adult thing to be. So, question is, who has the power? Ultimately, as Jacob says, the Americans.
Glad you agree with me at least on that one.
But then also, there is a God in this country. This is what we have that the British don't have. There is a God ruling over Zion. And there are bullets missing in America. And you cannot fight that.
Do you know why truth is stranger than fiction? Truth is stranger than fiction because fiction has to be believable in the mind of human beings. And truth needs to be believable in the mind of God. And God has a much better imagination than human beings.
God is stranger than humans.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's funnier.
Chezi was talking the other day, or commenting the other day, about the vision of Yechezkel, about the wheels within wheels full of eyes, and noting how much it would resemble a flying saucer. And my answer to that would be, human imagination is limited. Flying saucers and Yechezkel's imagination, I mean, I don't want to call it imagination. I mean, he saw something, but his mind needed to contain it. And whatever is contained in the human mind is limited. So dragons can resemble dinosaurs, not because the ancients saw dinosaurs, because this is what our mind can contain.
To try to interpret what Yoav said a little bit.
How far back are you going to go?
No, what he said in answer to your question.
Yes.
Part of the equation is the fact that the people I call Amharites, the Israeli old time,
The old left.
the old left,
The old guard of the old left elites, yes.
still controls the specifically the most important roles in the army.
The army
And
the justices, the Supreme Court.
And the
So
Supreme
both?
Court, but
So you got the court and you got the army and the army elite.
and specifically the Air Force pilots.
Okay, who carry a lot of weight in water.
Incredible amount of weight. And last time there was a question of whether Bibi can limit the powers of the King of Israel, Aaron Barak.
Oh right, yeah.
There were threats by pilots of strikes, like not going to work and not following orders, or what you might, in other words, call mutiny. But that is very unfortunately part of what the left generally thinks can be called democracy, is when saving our democracy includes the deep state telling people who are elected that they can't do things which are not democratic.
Ehud Barak is the name of this guy, right?
No, Aaron Barak.
Aaron.
Ehud Barak is also a name worth mentioning.
Yeah, along with Epstein.
Okay, so he's the shadow ruler of Israel, basically, because you called him king. Is that the idea?
he was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court,
Yeah, I see that. I'm on Wikipedia
and
now.
and he decided that the Israeli that so Israel doesn't have a constitution, which is kind of a difficult thing for a Supreme Court to deal with when there's no constitution, right?
Okay.
And so he decided that in lieu of an actual constitution, what is constitutional in Israel is what is reasonable to him.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I'm
If
familiar
it's
with
not
that.
reasonable,
Right.
it's unconstitutional.
So
And
he
he
set
gets
himself
to
up as
decide
kind of
what's
basically the
reasonable.
arbiter of truth, which makes him a dictator in effect.
Basically. Yes.
So he's the guy behind the scenes, and his
yes,
name's Barak.
as a true dictator, when he retired, because he's rather old, he nominates his successor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But what's his relationship with Bibi? Well, I guess I see, because his successor would not be Bibi, the prime minister. His successor would be the puppet master behind the scenes.
Yeah, his relationship to Bibi, like anything in politics, is obscure and for the chess. Because there should have been the two greatest enemies. If you have two great enemies in the state of Israel, it should have been them. But then when Bibi was on trial in the ICC in Hague, he chose his legal representative
To be this guy?
Barak. Yes.
Oh, it's a poison pill.
I did not know about this. That's
amazing.
Look up who
That's
was representing
amazing.
Israel in The Hague.
Represents Israel or Bibi?
Well, Israel was on trial, but I mean, it was nominated by Bibi.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, it's shrewd on Bibi. I mean, if there's anyone that International Court of Justice would like, it would be.
I mean, that would be an amazing plot device and a great show that you'd want to watch. Frankly,
And nobody broadcasts
just like
it.
the pagers, just like the pagers, like all of those things are like, wow, creative writers did that, and like it's just that's the truth that's stranger than reality. I'll be right back.
And so he has no relation with Ehud Barak. The last name Barak means lightning, and a lot of Israelis really liked it when they decided to change their last name to something Hebrew. So I wouldn't say it's a very common last name, but it's common enough.
Okay, I would like to address Jon God's questions about the conscription of the ultra-Orthodox. He thinks it's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's complicated. First, I want to say something that will please Jacob no end. One of the reasons that the rabbis do not allow their followers to go to the army is to say that it's an unnecessary risk to their lives. Because even if you accept that religiously maintaining the state of Israel is important, and even if you accept that going to the army is the best thing you can do to save the state of Israel, then it's the duty of the army to do their best to spare the lives of the soldier as much as possible. And if the army is in such a state that they are careless about the lives of the soldiers, then they cannot allow their congregation to get recruited to this army. Now, what happened with the influence of the office of the general attorney in the army on the army is that it was so careful about the lives of the Hamas people and the welfare of the Hamas people that it didn't care enough, according to their view, about the lives of Israeli soldiers. So a life of Israeli soldiers will be put at risk just to increase the welfare of some random terrorist, say the Orthodox rabbi. Which sounds like complete rubbish until you get acquainted with the facts. But that's a side issue. The main issue is a religious cultural confrontation between modernism and conservatism. And for example, in the question, can a woman accept any position in the army? And the modern liberal view is yes, a woman, of course, can get any position, and they should even check the numbers to make sure that the percentages are reasonable, including being a commander of several ultra-Orthodox boys. And the Orthodox will never accept it. I mean, they don't want to see a woman, they don't want to touch a woman, they don't want to get orders by a woman. There shouldn't even be a woman in the camp as far as they are concerned. My take is that they're entitled to, this is the religious view, they're entitled to, this is a reasonable demand. Now, this is a religious war now, because they will not give up their demands. The liberal progress will never give up on the right of a woman to be elected to any position. And there you have the impasse. Now, if you are in real danger, if there is a real war, then eventually, even a compromise is impossible, a compromise will be reached. Because eventually a compromise will be reached. You need the negotiation to be done at the street level rather than at the politicians' level. And I think this new affair that has culminated with finding of the phone, I think it will be a step towards the street, the men in the street coming to terms with the other men in the street and getting to a compromise on the street level. I think this is because now the left is completely out of leaders. The politicians were nobodies. The intellectual elite was actually the legal system. And they are going to be greatly discredited, even by people from the hard left. While at in the religious camp, you have a subdivision between the Zionist religious and the un-Zionist religion, and they have to come to terms with each other, and which have to be done in spite of divisions of power. Has to be done on the street level, and it will take a long time.
What is the
Eventually,
street? What's the street level
populations mix. Sorry,
What does the street level mean?
the man in the street.
Popular opinion, popular imagination, popular politics.
Yes.
As grassroots kind of coalescing.
The populations mix. Like we were talking about the distinctions between Ashkenazi Jews and Jews from the East, Sephardi Jews.
Mm-hmm.
They are interbreeding like crazy. I mean,
It's good.
there's
right?
absolutely no preference either way. I mean, in terms of marriage,
Mhm.
The distinction is going to evaporate within a generation.
I don't think the facts. Look, Israel, like any other country, especially a country that's unlike the United States, which, to the degree that's possible, as much as it's possible, the United States has gotten rid of aristocracy. But aristocracy doesn't go away. You always end up with aristocracy, even if the Bushes and the Obamas and the Clintons end up marrying each other's kids, which they do and they will.
Yes,
Because they know each other.
I agree. For me, the first rule of politics is that there is no political system other than aristocracy.
So,
Everything is just a veneer on top of aristocracy. Yeah,
I don't
but aristocracies change with time.
they do, and
They show up
Israeli
in all forms of
aristocracy
government.
is definitely changing. But at the same time, I have to say I view the whole religious service thing very differently, I think, than Yoav, because I think it is a culture war, and what the Israeli military has always been, and there's a reason they want the draft at 18 and the Tal Commission saying, okay, how about Orthodox Jews serve, but they start serving at 26, and everybody goes, no, because a 26-year-old doesn't assimilate like an 18-year-old does.
I agree. I absolutely agree with you. There's no.
And the fact is, sakanat nefashot, yeah, when rabbis say that it's dangerous to be in the Israeli military, they don't mean physically.
Yes, I agree with you totally, but I'm just telling you that apart from that, and what you say is the major thing, they're also speaking about physical dangers as well, because they can.
But the danger of having of believing that we must have equivalent female rule to male rule, and we must have every other left-wing idea that the state of Israel very much liked and continues to like. That's the danger that they're talking about.
Yeah, but this is a good compromise. Recruiting them at 26 is a good compromise. And
True. It's true.
this is, eventually it's going to settle there, and the left will have to realize that they're not going to convert the Jews out of their religion. Nobody ever managed to convert the Jews out of religion, and it's
Not even their
going
own
to
people.
That this is the problem that the leftist Jews have is, thank God Zionism has been completely incapable of destroying Judaism.
I don't even call it Zionism. I calling myself Zionist, and I don't want any yeshiva bucher to become atheist, not even one. I considered those who attempt to secularize the Jews as my cultural enemies, fiercest than my fiercest cultural enemies. Happen to be my friends, family, and neighbors as well, but in terms of cultures, they are my enemies.
And this is why I call you the chief rabbi of North Tel Aviv.
Because I considered myself the man in the foxhole, and I considered myself religious out of being in the foxhole and being in danger. I'm not going to specify what the danger is. It's a cultural danger. And I Sinai el ha'erim en yavo ezri, culturally. It's not coming from Karl Marx.
So that was a callback to the when we started with the psalm with my father, looking up to the mountains. A song of a saints. I look up to the mountains, and our dear rabbi here looks up to Mount Sinai. Some secular Jew you are.
The best kind.
I don't think I'm crazy and abnormal, but I don't think I'm the only one.
I have said many times before, I don't believe in atheists. There's nothing more absurd to me than the idea of an atheist. It's far more absurd than the idea of a God. So, do we have it all figured out? All the problems are over?
No. The story just begins, and it's going to be such a breathtaking movie to watch. I'm really, once you get yourself a little bit detached and you forget that it's all about your own life and death, and
I don't know.
It's a fascinating story.
You seem to think this is going to have more long-term impact than I am following this because I trust your judgment more than I trust my own judgment. At the same time, I have a very hard time seeing this scandal being even as big as the dollar scandal of Yitzhak Rabin. And if you ask me, the dollar scandal of Yitzhak Rabin, the fact it's only a scandal, yeah.
Well, different times. Okay, to whoever was him, I'm not a Nintendo fan. Those headphones that I'm wearing happen to be the cheapest one in the shop. But I do like them because, it's past midnight now in Israel. And a lot of time when I watch you guys, I fall asleep. And a lot of time the headphones will fall to the floor. And they will never break. I mean, these were made for teenagers and for kids. They will not break. And I really appreciate it.
And they're cheap, so if they do break, you can replace them.
Yep. The dollar scandals. I'm old enough to remember it. It brings some nostalgia how innocent we were at the time. And such a trivial matter counted for so much. Yes, I mean, Israel had scandals. There was the Esek Bish when we mishandled the spy network in Egypt. But that had political implications. Ministers have been replaced and prime ministers have fallen for that.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
Do you seriously believe that all there was to the dollar scandal was Leah Rabin forgot to close an account and turn the dollars into shekels?
Well, I'm not so old. I was too young to really care at the time. And Rabbi now that is a saint. You don't question nowadays. And that was 30 years ago. You don't question Yitzhak Rabin anymore. So this story is buried.
Yep. It's buried. That's true. That's why I gave it as an example.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years from now, certain people will be forgotten for good reasons and certain people will be forgotten for bad reasons, of course. But the country will be, of course, different, much different, but maybe to some degree by this affair. I mean, I'm not telling you anything. I'm not answering the question about what the Supreme Court is going to do. I don't know. It's a power struggle, and it's too close to call. I don't know. Questions in the chat that I missed.
What are the questions in the...
Well, a part of people admiring my Nintendo Switch headphones. Youngwood had this theory trying to make an equivalence between Israel and Prussia. And to answer him, no, Israel does not have one education system. There is the Israeli Zionist education system, and there is the ultra-Orthodox education system, and any shade in between, and there is the Arab education system, and supposed to be Israeli education system, but it's conducted in Arabic, and I don't know what they're telling them in class. Not everybody gets out of our school system Arab-speaking Zionist. So we're not like Prussia. We used to be a lot like Prussia at the beginning in terms of organization. At the first generation, we were managed by Junkers, by people of German education and German discipline. And that what made Israel work at the beginning. At the beginning, when we were a communist country, we really managed to survive because we had a Junker upper class. but they're all dead.
So that's how communism works.
Yeah, communism works if you have the politician with the Marxist slogans, while at the back office there's an old-style German clerk making the sums right.
Yeah,
China.
it is absolutely amazing how much damage Marxist economics did to Israel, India, and probably China.
Well, first of all, communism was right for Israel at a specific point. I mean, every tool is usable at a specific situation. Communism was very useful at a specific situation, and good riddance, because that situation has passed. Second, a bit unrelated, it's not only communism. I just noticed one curious fact, which actually proves the existence of God. The European Union was formed by the European steel and coal industry. That's a fact. The European Union destroyed the European steel and coal industry. If this is not an act of God, then what is? People are speechless. What is an interesting assessment?
Whatever you said earlier.
Okay.
Just based on the timing.
The term Bolshevik means the people of the majority, because the narrative of the Bolsheviks, well, we are the majority. This is why we need to rule the country. The left in Israel still thinks they are the majority. So they are on the left. They think they are a majority. So they are Bolsheviks by definition. Your explanation about Junkers, yeah. Now, some of the German Jews, you know, there was a saying in America, we won the war on Germany because our Germans were better than their Germans. Einstein and people.
Yeah.
And I know some of the German who immigrated to the UK. And there started the tradition of civil service there. So, but again, too lefty for my taste. Lenin was stupid. As long as you don't say that Lenin was Jewish, I'm okay with the statement.
He did have one Jewish grandfather.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Talking about the British, another thing that saved Israel is the British rule. Because we learned, I mean, us East European Jews learned a lot about how to manage an army or an industry from the British. And specifically the Air Force. One main reason for the efficiency of the Israeli Air Force is that it was based on British principles. And that radiated into Israeli high-tech. Because early Israeli high-tech was very much radiated from the Israeli Air Force. For example, when I started my career in the 80s, HR was imported from the Air Force HR and was nothing like the HR that you find in a high-tech company nowadays. Not even resembling in nowadays HR. It was an efficient sticking your eyes on the ball HR.
Run by men.
No.
No?
Whoever runs the office in the Air Force is actually the woman secretary.
This is true.
Yes, you have more male pilots, but we don't need them too much in the airport. We need the secretaries. And that was before computers. You need a secretary that could actually manage a complicated enterprise and make things happen in time before a computer invaded everywhere. And now that computers are doing all the job, then HR has become lazy and they're looking for other goals and have other aspirations than actually running the company. I'm talking a lot nowadays. Jonathan, it's your turn. I'm going to shut up and you're going to speak.
I've been enjoying the Bressler mysteries. These are interesting. These are new things for me to learn about. I thought originally you were talking about an earthquake, but you were talking metaphorically. And so I was looking for the earthquake in Israel. That wasn't reported by the news, and I was like, that is strange because anything that's like over 5.0 magnitude or whatever, whether it's in Timbuktu or Japan, gets a headline.
Look for earthquakes in Naples. Last day, Naples. Look for that because this is a real thing that is happening nowadays, and it's not just the Vesuvius volcano. It's a caldera. It's a 5-mile caldera that's going to blow up in the air. Hopefully not immediately, but it's serious.
There's a bigger thing about to go, like an aggregate
Something
volcano.
is cooking. Something is literally cooking. So if you look up Naples volcano, Naples caldera.
When I was in elementary school, they were constantly telling us the big earthquake in Los Angeles, the San Andreas Fault, is going to happen any day. And I was very, very concerned about it. I am 48 now, and it still hasn't happened.
It's like the second coming. I remember, like, as a kid, hearing all about the earthquake threat in California and being like, I never want to go there. Sounds like a terrible place.
It is.
I don't know how you guys don't live in fear constantly of the earthquake that's going to put you in a ditch.
You know what's funny?
Korok flush.
Every once in a while, I become friends with somebody who just came to Los Angeles, and they tell me, "Did you feel the earthquake?" And I say, "What earthquake?" And they're like, "There was an earthquake." And I look up, and there was like a 3.0.
Oh, I see. So you guys just kind of deal with constant tremors, and it's the water.
If it's less than a 4.0,
Yeah.
like nobody feels it, and unless it's a 5.0, it's not gonna do anything.
So no one feels it at 3.
Yeah,
Like, literally, you just wouldn't even register it.
I literally will not register.
Are you used to it? If I moved to California and lived there for 2 weeks and a 3.0 hit, would I be like feeling
You
that?
would probably you would probably be like, hey, something just happened, and
Yeah.
and go look it up and be like, there was an earthquake, and yeah, there was.
Did a big truck go down the street? That kind of thing. Is someone doing a
Yeah,
jackhammering out a couple doors down?
exactly.
Okay, so you just get used to occasional little tremors.
Yeah,
Like a bump on an
a
airplane.
3.0. I mean, here,
I mean, you're talking to somebody who has never, like, earth tremors are not a thing right now in Michigan.
Okay, so
The last time you dealt with a tornado, though, I'm sure
there was a 2.8 2 hours ago in Big Bear.
Tony.
There, like, and a 2.5 in Loma Linda, and like this stuff, like,
I'll be coming home in just a second.
let's see, recent earthquakes.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, there are 2 points, like,
Jacob, if I felt a rumble of a semi running by my house right now and I didn't hear the semi itself, or there was someone doing construction a couple doors down that was like getting down, like it's happened occasionally. I'm like, I go outside, I'm looking around, I'm on high alert. But that's because it's so rare here that would be maybe a sign of a problem, where it sounds like it's just kind of another day in sunny LA.
yeah.
Okay, nobody tells us this.
Whenever somebody moves out to Los Angeles, who's not from the West Coast, they oftentimes will feel something, and it's like, oh, was that an earthquake, or was it a, like, yeah.
So between the politics, the taxes, and just the constant earth shifting beneath you,
Yeah.
people still choose to live in California.
Have you been here? Do you know how beautiful it is? You have.
Well,
been
I've only
here.
ever been to like San Francisco, which is not beautiful, like in the summer, and like
Okay.
I've been to LA like 3 times. Yeah,
I
sure.
have never had to shovel snow in my life.
Okay, well, you know,
I have never had to wait for the car to warm up to drive in my life.
okay, well,
I have never
both solved and solvable problems, but keep going.
I have never had weather so bad that I have had to cancel anything.
Okay, that happens once every 5 years for us, but keep going.
Really? Like, school gets canceled? How often?
Well, I mean, who's that really a crisis for, though?
But it's the type of thing that happens that just does not happen here. School never gets canceled for weather reasons, ever.
I'm trying to think of like what we get in consideration for school cancellations, which are not that big of a deal. But maybe, like, I don't know, we can go skiing down the street.
I can drive to. There
Okay,
are.
so, all right, I withdraw that one.
living
Living in Michigan, it's not a ski.
Yeah.
Not
Anyway,
anyway.
and we can go to the beach. Like, I could go swimming right now at the beach in California. It would be a little chilly. Like, my friends,
it'd be a little chilly here too.
My family, when they come in January, I still take them to the beach.
Well, that's part of the shtick, right?
Right. It
Hey,
is.
you want to go to the beach in January? They're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, no. Well, anyway, let me know when an F5 hits your neighborhood.
Yeah, school was canceled. Like, I was living in the valley when the big one hit in Northridge. That was a 7.2. And yeah, school was canceled for 3 days.
Well, when you cancel school, you cancel it. It's not just for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, the Northridge earthquake was a 6.7. It was a 6.7. But if it's under a 6, it's not going to do serious damage in California.
Yeah. Well, we get used to the snow days too. So
I remember when I was in yeshiva in Israel, it snowed, and all the Los Angeles, there were 4 of us from Los Angeles. We went out and we were playing in the snow. We had so much fun. And the guys from New York were like, "What is your problem? How is this? How is this exciting?" The earthquake was in '94. Was January 17th, 1994. I remember it well. 57 people were killed. Yeah.
well, guys, I don't know about you, but sunset is coming, so I'm gonna go keep
Have
and
fun.
desecrate the Shabbos. See ya.
Later. So, to explain the Great Shabbat controversy, are you interested?
Yeah.
So, there is a fight that's been brewing within the conservative movement in the United States between what can roughly be called the Ben Shapiro wing and the now Tucker Carlson wing. It used to be Ben Shapiro wing and Nick Fuentes, but do you know who Nick Fuentes is?
I heard about a controversy being flaming between them.
Right.
But what does it has to do with the Shabbat?
Aha. So Nick Fuentes was interviewed on Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson did not ask any hard questions, which got people upset. Heritage Foundation was, until recently, the most important conservative think tank in really in the United States. And the president of the Heritage Foundation decided to put out a video defending Tucker Carlson for having Nick Fuentes on, which got many people very upset, specifically the Jewish parts of the conservative movement, because Nick Fuentes is Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, he has something about cooking lots of cookies.
Yes, baking lots of cookies. Yes,
I didn't like this joke.
That's his shtick. Anyway,
Yeah.
I mean this goes all the way back, and people have started talking about William Buckley and Pat Buchanan. I don't know if you know who those people are.
Let's get to the Shabbat.
Okay, so what happened was that Heritage has had a committee for over a year to help with anti-Semitism on the right. And that committee had some recommendations, which included that people at Heritage could be invited for Shabbat dinner. And over the whole controversy about the president of Heritage, there was a meeting where they were discussing all of this stuff. And somebody gets up and says, I realize we don't have to go, but some of us are religious Catholics and we fast on Fridays to commemorate the death of Jesus. and going to the religious services of another religion is against our conscience. And I just want to know how we will make sure that nobody is mistreated for refusing to go to Shabbat dinner. And the video of this conversation got leaked. And over the past 48 hours, there has been a great fight over what exactly a Shabbat invitation is, and whether it is against Christian conscience to go to a Shabbat dinner, and whether it's perfectly fine or not to refuse to go to a Shabbat dinner. In any case, apparently 13 out of, I guess there's only 15 or so members of the Anti-Semitism Committee of Heritage have resigned. Apparently several of their senior fellows have resigned. And it is quite likely that the president of Heritage is not going to be the president of Heritage by Monday.
So next time the historians raise up the question of who started the separation between the Jews and the Christians in the first century or second century, you can point out to this incident as indicative. This is just how things going to happen always.
Yeah.
Church is split.
Kirk, I don't know if it would be impolite. They're probably not going to say no. I have invited myself over to people's houses at an Orthodox synagogue, but it's something that requires a lot of tact and social skills, and I generally attempting it as one of your first attempts at improving your social skills.
Okay. I had ultra-religious grandparents. And my grandmother survived to an old age, and she would sometimes go and visit us.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to keep a complete cookery set and cutlery set and open a kind of tuna for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she was apparently very strict about what and how she ate in our house. We suspect then when we were looking, she would sample some of the contents of the pots to see how the new bride is doing, but
Yeah.
that's just a family rumor. People have expressed a desire to discuss Gödel Escher Bach. Do you want to start a discussion now? Anybody wants to pop in and talk Gödel Escher Bach at us? Thunder person, young God, anybody?
I know nothing about Escher Bach and Gödel.
Yeah, but that will be your chance to learn. I
Yep.
consider it wisdom literature.
Uh-huh.
The end conclusion is the one that you will not approve, is that consciousness can be derived from calculation, but he never really gets to this conclusion. He wanted to get to the conclusion and he failed. But the rest of a very thick book is quite interesting.
He was a mathematician. He was what was he?
I think he's a mathematician, yes. But it's an interesting book. It doesn't have a lot of mathematics. It has a lot of Socratic dialogues. Anybody into that? I have a question for the chat. I mean, it's a riddle. see if you really know your Gödel Escher Bach literature. What was the previous name of Aunt Hillary? There is Aunt Hillary in the book. What was her previous name? If you cannot answer that, then there really nobody to talk with. StreamYard. Can you post the StreamYard link?
Can post the StreamYard link. Well, Donnie, are you still in Eretz Yisrael, or are we doing Talmud on Sunday?
Donnie, I get the joke. This is not this Aunt Hillary. It's another Aunt Hillary, the Aunt Hillary character in the book.
By the way, Donnie, if you're in Eretz Yisrael, so is Ben. If the two of you don't actually meet up in Eretz Yisrael, that's going to be weird.
Okay, so Panda person actually haven't read Gödel Escher Bach. Okay.
Kirk was the one who was asking about Escher Bach, wasn't he?
Okay, but I mean, maybe he wants to be taught about it. So if a Panda person wants me to teach him a little bit of the wisdom in Gödel Escher Bach, I will gladly do so at the moment. Being the chief rabbi of Nov Tel Aviv.
1979 nonfiction book by American cognitive scientist Douglas Hofstadter.
I don't think the term cognitive scientist was used at the time. I think it's more, the title I think is rather modern.
In 1984, he moved to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, where he was hired as a professor of psychology.
Okay. There is no psychology in the book.
He was initially, he called himself artificial intelligence research, which later became cognitive science research. Hello, Kurt.
Yeah, so the way I found out about Gödel Escher Bach was that a YouTuber, a philosophy and social commentary YouTuber who I follow, talked about it. And I would like to read it, but I was told by Jonathan in Discord that it was not a fun read. So I don't know. I would like to finish reading basic philosophy texts like Heidegger, Being and Time, or Critique of Pure Reason by Kant before I get to that.
Yes, please do read the classics before. This is not your first choice. I disagree. It is a fun read to begin. It begins as a fun read, and it sort of peters out, and towards the middle, you're entitled to leave it in the middle. Everybody does. Nobody reads it to the end.
Okay. And I
This
heard
is why
that,
nobody ever gets to the conclusion.
yeah. And I heard that this whole idea of a computational mind was criticized by Roger Penrose, because he argues that the Gödel's incompleteness theorem means that human understanding has to be non-computational because there are true but unproven axioms which we can understand, so we can understand beyond formal systems.
Yes, the two agree that the Gödel theorem is relevant, which is a controversial statement, but they agree on it. And it means that consciousness is not a computation, but this book is trying to explain how it can be derived from calculation. It can be made out of calculations or an evolution of calculations.
Okay.
And the answer is by feedback. I have a university degree in electronics, so I will give you some examples about feedback. If you have an amplifier and it has its characteristics, and you put a negative feedback on it, then what determines the performance is not any of the characteristics of the amplifier, but the characteristics of the negative feedback. So if you put feedback on top of consciousness, it started to behave not like the mechanism that drives it, which is the biological mechanism, but by the nature of the feedback. Another example, you always have a tweet or a scream sound coming when you close the feedback loop between a microphone and a loudspeaker. So there is a complicated StreamYard mechanism to convey the sound to you, which has its characteristics. But when you close the loop, the feedback loop, it's all forgotten. All you have is just a system that screams. So the positive feedback in this case nullifies the system underneath it, and the system behaves by the nature of the feedback. So if consciousness, if the mind is a calculation that closes loop on itself, it suddenly behaves like a different thing. This is the statement in a nutshell.
Okay, so it's the idea that the mind is like self-referential, basically.
Yes.
Okay. See, I don't know much cognitive science.
Sorry?
I said I don't know much cognitive science, so I don't know how empirically supported that is. But I don't know how much.
There is no cognitive science in the book. It's actually a book that reads as if it was written by a mathematician.
Okay. Because I heard on the Wikipedia page that Jacob was reading that he was a cognitive scientist, so I don't know.
Maybe he has become one, or he's now called one, but I don't see it in the book.
Okay.
Opposite believe that certain integer can be conscious. That's fun, but that makes some integers racist. Okay, let me explain how come an integer can be conscious. It's the Gödel theorem. The Gödel theorem that says that any mathematical statement can be represented by a number. Just a coding. It's a way of coding the text, and therefore any algorithm can be represented by a number. I mean, what is a computer algorithm? It's actually a very large number in the memory of the computer. So if consciousness is a computation, then it is represented by a number. And then your mind is represented by a number, and my mind is represented by slightly different number.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Jacob would know. I don't know what Judaism says about all of this, about computational minds and all this.
I have zero idea.
Okay. Because I would imagine, because I know Kabbalah does talk about, to my understanding, the idea that there is a structure to the soul, right? But I don't necessarily know if that's like a computation or not.
I would generally say that Dawn is absolutely correct. This stream is sponsored by Costco.
What do you have, Jacob?
All my streams always are. I'm having almonds. I make a big point of not confusing things that are scientific with things which are spiritual.
Yeah.
Because those are two very different epistemologies.
I mean, fair enough, but does it not seem that sometimes there are claims which are made spiritual which seem to have scientific implications?
Yes, but so for example, I believe the world was created 5,700 we're at 87 now years ago. That doesn't change the fact that science tells us the world is 12 billion years old. Now, there's a reason why I know about Omphalos, also referred to as the last Thursdayism, because that helps me understand how my religious understanding of how old the world is could interact with the scientific understanding.
I see. Well, so correct me if I'm mistaken, but isn't the idea from the age of the universe that that the length of a day before the sun was created was longer than 24 hours?
That is one of the things people say. The Rebbe was very against that. And again, I keep the two things separate. I have my religious beliefs for my religious beliefs. I have I understand science as best I can about science. And then there's the question of how the two have to interact, which, again, Halachic Man, note 4, is one of the places I go to. Rabbi Sachs also wrote a book about the interaction between the two. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, wrote many things with regards to the interaction between the two. But before you can talk about the interaction between the two, you have to establish what is scientific, and then you have to establish what is what religion says, and then you can interact between, okay, I know this from science, I know this from religion. How do the two interact? What I am very, very opposed to is the idea that somebody would mix the two epistemologies, because I don't think they are epistemologies that function together.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, they just address different types of questions, it seems.
No,
Or-
no.
Okay.
They are different methods of knowing. And the two methods of knowing are not complementary to each other. Now, you have to decide what is my knowledge and what is my confidence, and how am I going to interact with the knowledge that I have. But how you know something, yeah, non-overlapping magisteria is one of the ways. I mean, I oftentimes describe it.
Yeah. Although, to my understanding, that was what Stephen Jay Gould, who said that was none of like magisteria, that religion deals with ethics and science deals with factual questions, but that's not precise either.
Especially John Vervaeke has very correctly started talking about the transjective. We don't know things. So one of the most impactful facts in my understanding of understanding has been what's called utilization behavior. What happens is that there are people who sometimes have traumatic brain injuries, which create what's called utilization behavior. And utilization behavior is that when they see something, they utilize it immediately. So I see a glass of water, I start drinking it. Because apparently what we do is first we recognize that this is a glass of water, and then we decide whether or not to drink it.
You got it the other way around.
Say it.
First we realize it's a drinkable object, and then we realize it's a glass of water.
Correct. Yes. I didn't think I was contradicting that, but we don't like that recognition is more fundamental. Yeah, the use of something is more fundamental than recognizing what that thing is. And so that's why somebody's brain can get injured, which means that they don't stop themselves from seeing a door and walking through it. Right? So that completely destroys the normal ways that we've considered Platonic universals.
Yeah. Young God says this is why they don't want to look at girls. It's very practical, really. Wait, this is why who doesn't want to look at girls? Orthodox Jews?
I think he's talking about the Haredim, yes.
Okay. I mean, I thought that, correct me if I'm wrong, is the halacha that is only for during prayer?
No.
Or is it, okay.
Shmirat Einayim is, I mean, halachically, it gets into a whole thing, but when it comes down to it, if you follow the halachot of Yichud, which I did, it becomes absolutely impossible to have affairs and stuff like that, because you're never alone with somebody of the opposite sex, ever.
And so
Who's not your wife, obviously.
and is that a biblical requirement out of curiosity? Okay. So the rabbis were wiser than many people in the modern day.
Yes, I honestly, when I found out about the amount of sex scandals that exist in the Christian world, which is a lot higher than I imagined, I realized, oh yeah, they don't have the laws of Yichud, which make it a lot harder to actually end up with the same problems in the Orthodox Jewish world as you end up in. Now, I have to say, what recently has become the case is, and more it is the case, but when I taught at a Hasidic elementary school, we were told you have to practice the laws of Yichud with the students. And I thought was okay. When they said, like, you have to practice Shomer Negiah. So I had a 9-year-old student who started crying and I gave him a hug, and the principal told me I can't give him a hug. And I thought that was crazy.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Shomer Negiah was for the opposite sex.
Exactly. But what is increasingly the case for teachers in schools is you don't even touch the students.
Okay, that sounds like a little much.
I thought so, but also, I mean, the abuse scandals are real, and to the Orthodox Jewish mind, it makes a lot of sense to extend those same prohibitions.
Yeah. Well, the main argument that I've heard I mean, I don't necessarily know if this is empirically supported, but is that if you repress sort of physical and social interaction, that can lead to like an over sexualization of it, which means that sexual abuse might actually increase because basically it'll be seen as like a taboo, repressed thing. Whereas if it's social like physical interaction is normalized, then you don't have these like bent up sexual urges or anything like that.
I mean, that's look. If somebody is feels that there's some sort of pent up sexual urges with prepubescent anything, that person already has problems. Yeah, like the idea that like minor attracted people could be like, it's like, no, such a person should be nowhere near children. Just stop. But there are very few people who are minor attracted people. Thank God.
Well, so I'm curious. So I actually do have a question about Judaism, and specifically, I have a question if you think this is a Jewish question or a religious question or a scientific question, which is, do you think something like do aliens have free will is a scientific question or a Jewish question, like religious question? Because I've heard some rabbis say that aliens can't have free will because of the fact that it says in the Genesis that God created human beings and then he blew neshama and all this, and so because aliens don't have the neshama, but the existence of free will for aliens
Sounds
also
like a lot of speculation to me, and I frankly, I don't see any reason to get involved in that speculation until if and when we discover aliens. Like you can sit there and speculate about it, but yeah.
Okay. It's just the only reason I ask is because it seemed like a scientific question which was being answered with a religious methodology, and I don't know if that's universally accepted within the Orthodox Jewish community as well.
Definitely not a universal thing because most people don't sit around talking about aliens.
Yeah.
I do not believe in aliens.
You do not believe in aliens? Why do you not believe in aliens?
Because this I consider the chance of complicated life emerging to be large, too small for the size of the universe. It shouldn't have happened, not even once.
How much have you been following Avi Loeb?
I may have heard of him, but I don't know. The world is full of people. Nothing comes to mind.
Avi Loeb is Israeli, which is why I have some suspicions about pretty much everything he says.
So do I.
But he was for 9 years the chairman of the physics department at Harvard. He is still a professor at Harvard. And he is...
Was he head of a missile program in Israel?
I don't believe so.
Mm-hmm.
But you can look at that up. But he is currently the most active scientific proponent of the idea that it is quite likely, and certainly we should be spending large amounts of money investigating whether extraterrestrials exist. And he's one of the few people who's made very good arguments that I find compelling regarding the existence of extraterrestrials. Of course, he might also be a Mossad psyop, so what do I know?
Yeah, I think I've seen Avi Loeb talking about something about the 3-1 something. I don't know what that.
So we are currently experiencing the third interstellar object to be observed in our solar system.
Okay. And is he saying that that's possibly aliens or?
Yes, well, no, not this third one, kind of, but Umau, which is the first one, his calculations indicate that it was something like 10 millimeters thick and 30 meters in diameter. Um, he thought it might be a solar sail, which would be, as he calls it, space junk from another civilization.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that. But I mean, I've heard that there is like I saw a video by what's his name? Ephraim Pavlov, which said that there is possibly aliens referenced in Talmudic sources, and I've seen videos that say that in the Talmud there's possibly extraterrestrial life referenced in certain like midrashim. So I don't know like how directly you can parallel, but I've heard that this is not foreign to Judaism.
Ephraim Pavlanov is a better person than I, who knows much more Torah than I do, but he is not a widely known and respected rabbi.
Okay. Is he like he's definitely not like Shmuley Boteach, is like
No,
okay.
he actually has a congregation where he's a rabbi, and he's a better person than I am. That's for sure.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know if you were trying to imply that perhaps he was misleading on this point or
I wouldn't ever call him misleading. I would say he has his own idiosyncratic and unique ideas, which are not broadly held in the Orthodox Jewish world.
okay, that makes sense because I've also heard him say that originally Zionism was a religious movement as well.
Well, I mean, originally it was when Abraham moved to the land of Israel. That was a religious movement.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't know if that's exactly what he was referring to when he was
Well,
saying.
modern Zionism is a collection of different streams. There was a socialist Zionism, communist Zionist, Jewish religious Zionism,
Christian Zionism.
Jewish Zionism that was flavored with socialism, Jewish Zionism that was conservative. This is why we started with the parliament of many parties. We didn't start with the two-party system because at the beginning we had so many parties and so many splinters to the parties.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But when he said Zionism was originally a religious movement, to be fair, this was not in a video about Zionism. It was a video about aliens, actually, believe it or not. But I thought he was referring to the modern Zionism, which, to my understanding, most religious Jews opposed at the time.
No, I was talking about modern Zionism starting, let's say, beginning of the 20th century. But sort of, how did we get it from aliens? I lost the connection.
I was just saying that I've heard. So Jacob mentioned Ephraim Palvanov having idiosyncratic views within the Orthodox Jewish community, and then I brought up that I've heard him saying that Zionism was originally a religious movement. I thought that was in the context of modern Zionism, possibly not. Then maybe I was misinterpreting him.
Well,
And
it's not a true statement, but I'm sure there are lots of people who will say that because this is why it's fun to be in the TLC. Any opinion you will find a person that believes in it.
StreamYard's made some changes. Interesting. Huh.
Ooh, what kind of changes?
UI changes. Now I can do this. I used to not be able to do this. That might be convenient, especially when there's lots of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad. It's too bad Hezzy's not here because I think he would somehow be able to connect some of these things.
Connecting aliens to religious Zionism. He would.
Possibly. I mean, Hezzy's a very creative mind, in my opinion.
I could do it if you gave it to me as an assignment. He said, your assignment today is connect between aliens and Zionism as a Jewish movement. After some thought, I will be able to do it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Jacob, I hope. Speaking of Hezzy, I hope you start going to synagogue soon because you love studying Torah so much. And what I don't understand is if your favorite mitzvah is Talmud Torah,
Yeah.
then wouldn't you want to spend time doing Talmud Torah every week?
I spend a lot of time doing Talmud Torah.
Okay, so would you just be too burnt out if you had to do it every Shabbat?
Going to synagogue and studying Torah are two very different things.
Okay. So have you read this week's Parsha?
I have not read this week's Parsha.
Okay. Well, too bad because I was hoping someone could give a Devar Torah on it. Is this Parsha? Wait, is this Parsha Vayera that's coming up, or was that last week?
It is indeed Vayera.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what Vayera is about it again.
So do you want to start reading it now?
I would like to. I mean, Jacob tells me that I should talk about things relevant to the community, and I think the community likes biblical things.
The community generally does like things. Yeah. I am only going to be streaming for a little bit longer. Not so many people are watching.
It's 1:00 a.m. here.
Well, that's interesting because I had someone on Twitch Radio, actually. I wonder if you have any viewers on Twitch or...
I do have a viewer on Twitch, supposedly.
Oh, yeah. So is that viewer a human being?
I have no clue.
Okay. Yeah. Parsha Vayera. Do you want to read it, Jacob?
I was not particularly thinking of turning this into a Bible study.
Okay. Also, is what's his name? Jason Schweitzer hosting Bible studies every Sunday morning?
I doubt he's gonna do it every Sunday morning, which reminds me I have to talk to Jason.
Okay, because I thought now I saw that the last week he did one. I didn't know if he was going to do it this week. Yeah, I actually miss your Bible study stream, Jacob. I really did like when we talked about more biblical themes.
Yeah, but the Bible stream, I mean, it was mostly because I had somebody to do Bible study with, and yeah, I did kind of get busy.
I mean, maybe I hope this is not too much to ask, but like, if you ever want to stream with me, like for like a Bible stream or whatever, like I'm generally going to be free during the weekdays, as after school, about during the evenings. I mean, or on the weekends certainly.
Yeah, I generally choose partners who have extensive knowledge already, so that we can have deep conversations, and that doesn't describe you, Kirk.
Okay. A little bit frank, but fair enough.
Yeah, I find especially some people require you to be quite frank when you explain things to them, while other people get the hint much easier.
Yeah. Young God says, Kirk, your questions are giving me a stroke. Why all the logistical inquiries? Um, Young God, I don't really know how to answer that because I don't. Perhaps I'm not self-conscious enough to understand how my logistical inquiries are really would have a causal relationship with you having a stroke. But yeah, Lucky. That's her name is, or his name is Lucky again.
His name is indeed Lucky, yes.
When's he gonna get a haircut? Because that's
I wasn't planning on cutting his fur. It it it's kind of long. It's a little bit long, but I'm probably gonna keep it as is.
yeah. Well, Young God says one day you'll understand when you invite yourself to a Shabbat dinner. Probably. I actually I don't know if I told you guys, but I actually did one time get kicked out of a synagogue for asking too many deep philosophical questions.
You did tell me about that, yes.
I just wanted to share that with the community, but yeah, um, yeah. There's a so you don't think it would be impolite?
Lucky doesn't shed.
Oh,
Lucky
Lucky
does
doesn't.
not shed. That the whole point of Lucky's existence is to not shed. This is why doodles exist. Doodles were created for the um, express purpose of not shedding. Well, I don't think they require clipping any more than poodles do, and people oftentimes do clip poodles, but I'm I'm usually I've I've generally been a natural fur type of guy.
Yeah, and I know isn't there a tradition within the Orthodox Jewish community that you don't cut hair until a certain amount of time, like every 3 years or
That's
something?
for human beings.
Okay, so it's not for dogs. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the castration thing, that's actually the biggest. By Jewish law, you're not supposed to castrate animals. But I bought him on the condition that he gets castrated. So that that uh, is my loophole. But yeah, we'll see.
Are non-Jews allowed to castrate animals?
Nope,
Okay, so you're not even allowed to ask a non-Jew that
not
one.
really. Although there are uh, there are various opinions, but generally, castration of animals is not a very Jewish thing.
Wasn't it a common practice in the farm?
It was, which is one of the reasons that Jewish farmers were quite concerned about it. But halachically, it's it's very problematic to castrate animals. Very, very problematic. And we are going to go to the park after this because
Oh,
somebody needs some exercise.
the dog park or the regular park?
Uh, kind of both. There's there's a park around here where people bring their dogs. It's not an official dog park, and since he's not fully vaccinated, I don't feel comfortable taking him to the actual dog park. But yeah, um, yeah,
Yeah. You know, have you ever seen the TV show Frasier before?
yes.
Your relationship with Lucky kind of reminds me of the relationship between Martin and Eddie. Um,
Martin and Eddie. Oh,
Martin,
the Fraser's dad and the
yeah,
dog. I forgot the dog's name.
they had a pretty. I'm pretty sure they had a pretty close relationship. But are you like? Have you always been an animal person?
Uh, I've always liked animals. Sure.
Yeah, because I mean, for some people, I'd imagine it's an acquired taste. Like I didn't really care for. Actually, I mean, I guess I kind of always liked animals, but I've grown more tolerant of them. But the puppies can be a little much, especially when you're eating.
Coming to think about it, in a wolf pack, most of the males will be functionally castrated anyway.
Functionally, yes.
Wait, why? In a male pack?
Because only the leading couple mates.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I am asking. Yes, golden doodles absolutely need regular haircuts. Interesting.
Oh, he's a golden doodle?
Yes.
What is the number one question, cool kids, that you would ask people and you could not find anybody to answer you?
I mean, I guess when I would talk to people about Wittgenstein, not a lot of people knew about him.
Yeah, but what is the question?
Well, I didn't really get kicked out for asking questions. I got kicked out for talking about like deep philosophical things when people were just trying to enjoy their meal. I don't think it was because I asked questions.
Okay. Because I was worried you might have an unanswered question. If you don't, then it's cool.
No, well, the it's not an unanswered question. It's an unanswered problem with my social etiquette, which I'm trying to answer. And fortunately, we have someone in the stream named Jacob Federici who's helping me, and I commend him for it. That's your hypergamy for you, Kirk? Wait, is that what hypergamy is? When only the leader can mate?
Hypergamy describes human females who marry up in status, not down.
Okay. Okay, because young God would think that was something about her.
I don't know how it's relevant, but young God sometimes set it of ways, of course.
So Yoav, how have you been feeling recently about the situation in Israel?
Well, we go back to the beginning of the stream before you arrived. We talked a lot about it. I'm feeling fine.
Okay, that's good to hear. You know, for some reason you have a very Israeli aura, Yoav. I don't know if anyone has told you that, but
It might have something to do with the fact he's Israeli.
There's just something about a not secular, about a not religiously presenting, visibly Jewish male that just gives off something very Israeli.
Okay. Meanwhile, Yon God, you don't understand the social life of the wolf pack. I said only the leading couple mates. It's a steady couple.
Okay, so even
I'm talking to Yon God, yes.
so it's not hypergamy because the women don't. It's not that the women are marrying up; they're equal in status with the man at the top.
I mean, that's what I hear. I'm not an expert on wolf packs, and I think it would differ between breeds of wolves. And Canaan family is diverse. Jackals will behave completely differently.
Wait, Young God's having a wedding? Oh,
Is he?
Dawn, you missed the beginning. Please go back and watch the beginning. I think you should.
We had a very long talk about Israeli politics.
Yeah. And I'm feeling fine. But that it doesn't matter. I tend to be feeling fine, even though I think the end of the world is very near. Just doesn't scratch me. When is your wedding after the war? Okay.
Oh, Young God says that, Ixnon said that Young God should be having a wedding.
Well, we know we should have a wedding, we just wonder when, and he says after the war. Okay. After
Wait,
the
is
war,
Young
the
God
world is.
Israeli?
No.
Okay, so then why would he base his wedding time?
Not this war, the other war.
The Russia-Ukraine war?
The World War III. He's waiting for the end of World War III. I think.
He says he's counter-trolling Kirk.
Okay. He's calling Ixnon.
So are you like really into math, Yoav?
Sorry, what about math?
Are you really into mathematics?
Yeah.
Okay, because I recently got a little bit interested in math. So maybe we could talk about that sometime. Do you know any set theory?
I learned it at the age of 6.
Okay, because I learned about Russell's paradox, but that's all I know.
When it gets interesting is the axiom of choice. I'm tending to think that the axiom of choice is wrong, but it's an axiom. It's a religious belief.
What's the axiom of choice?
Okay, I mean, lots of in geometry, for example, a lot of proofs start, well, pick a point on a line, any point. Yeah?
Yeah.
Question is, can you possibly pick a point on a line? And my view, there are so many points that you get confused, and the action of actually picking one is impossible.
Okay. So are you saying that there should not be an axiom of choice and that people should only be allowed to choose out of specific points?
Mathematics split at the point at this axiom. You can build a mathematics on top of the assuming it's true, and you can build another mathematics on top assuming it's not true.
Okay, but so is the axiom that you can pick whatever point you start on a line?
Yeah, you can just pick a point. That doesn't matter what, just a point.
Okay. Yeah, and you don't think that you should be allowed to just pick any point, basically.
I don't think you can as a human being. Not even as a, let's say, abstract human being.
Okay.
I've said it on this channel many times. Two infinities, the countable and the uncountable. And I think that humanity in its best can tackle the countable infinity. And humanity just doesn't begin to understand the uncountable infinity.
Okay. I mean, I didn't know there was such a thing as a countable infinity.
The countable infinity is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until infinity. This is the countable infinity.
Okay.
The non-countable infinity is the number of points on the line.
Okay. So Zeno's paradox, basically?
Lots of paradoxes emerge from this basic incapability of the human mind to grasp the uncountable infinity.
The point is, in mathematics, there are larger and smaller infinities. And that means there's a difference between different infinities.
Yeah, the countable infinity is smaller than the non-countable infinity. And it's all Cantor's fault, and he paid for that.
Yeah, I think I've heard of Georg Cantor. Didn't so he said that there was different types of infinities because
Yes.
you could, I believe, didn't he have like a diagonal proof of this where he would take two different sets of numbers and like he would have this diagonal grouping of them together, and that he proved that there's different size infinities.
Yeah, and then he went mad. Answering to Xnon, if it's impossible to pick a point on a line, is there even a line? So it follows that there isn't a line, and there isn't a plane, and there isn't a space, and the whole physics is based on the definitions of space. So physics is non-mathematical. Physics is at its foundation baseless. But I'm not criticizing physics, it's just the best we have. We will never figure out anything better.
So the uncountable infinity. I'm trying to think.
It's mind-boggling, literally.
Yeah, I mean the idea that there's something which you can't like compute is just kind of difficult for me to understand, like or calculate the size on a line. Yeah, and so are you saying is this related to the axiom of choice, or is this a different like
Yes,
figure?
yes, because the number of points on the line is so much larger than even the countable infinity that I can understand. That it's just not impossible for me even to imagine picking a point on the line. And that's my point. I mean, you should read into it. But I'm just warning you that at least one person might read. I mean, if you treat it too seriously, you will just go mad.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I know about math is Bertrand Russell said that the set of all sets which don't contain themselves is a paradox. That's really the only thing I know about set theory.
Yeah.
And have mathematicians been able to solve that problem?
What mathematicians do, this event, is first you split, as I said, you build one mathematics set of mathematics, assuming it's true, building another mathematics, building it's not true. Another trick is that you do is you build a fence. You build a fence around what you can agree on, and declare what you don't agree as outside the scope of your interest. This is sort of what you can do about it.
So are you saying that mathematicians can declare it's outside of the scope of interest?
Yeah, you can define a mathematics that is I mean, the question is, if there is a paradox, and if it is either a true or false value, but you cannot figure out which one, go build mathematics on the assumption that it's true, and go build another mathematics on the assumption that it's not true, and just split your field.
Okay. Young God says, Kirk, you need to figure out if solving the halting problem is consciousness. What's the halting problem?
Okay. You will read it under the question whether P equals NP. That's the name of it. We know that some questions cannot be answered, meaning that if you write an algorithm to solve a problem, you don't know if the algorithm ever stops, and therefore you don't know if the answer will be true or false.
Okay. And so the problem is that you can't calculate it?
Yeah. Some
Okay.
questions are uncalculatable.
So what's an example of an uncalculatable question that's the halting problem? And what does that have to do with consciousness? Because Jan God's saying if it's consciousness.
Well, if calculation sometimes cannot answer some questions, maybe consciousness can answer the questions, and that means that's because consciousness is not a calculation. That is what is aiming at.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't believe consciousness is a calculation. So, yeah, but I don't know if that means we can solve the halting problem.
Well, the halting problem is just a name for a set of problems that you don't know if the algorithm is going to halt or not.
Okay. So is an example of this, when did you stop hitting your wife, Kirk, and provide the answer in day sense? Is that an example of the halting problem?
Jan God is what did he call it? Counter trolling you?
No, but it's not a good it's not a good example.
Okay, but what is a good example?
I cannot remember one on top of my mind at the moment.
I mean, we could ask Rabbi Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Give me an example of a problem from which an algorithm. Okay.
Halting problem. Example. For example, in pseudocode, the program while true continue does not halt. Rather, it goes on forever in an infinite loop. On the other hand, the program print hello world does halt.
Bad example. Because the example they gave, the loop, there is no answer that you're expecting. I'm looking for example of an algorithm trying to solve a question and give me an answer and failing to do so.
Excuse me, I'm looking this up on ChatGPT.
The question is, can you look at the code and know in advance if it's going to halt you, yes or no? In the example they gave, a brief look at the code will say, yeah, this is, of course, is not going to stop. The more difficult case is when you have a more complicated code and you cannot prove mathematically that it is going to stop, and you cannot prove mathematically that it's not going to stop.
Okay. I mean, it says here that an example would be if you say tricky halts, and if it halts, if it says yes, then it loops forever. If it says no, then it halts. So I don't know. Is that an example of a halting problem?
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, this
I
is
just said I'm not a mathematician.
okay, but the fact I'm a little bit surprised how you knew set theory by age 6, because that's like more advanced than calculus.
There was a school of thought in among the educators of mathematics that you should teach little children set theory before anything else. And I was experimented upon. There was a reason to that. Because sometimes, let's say more than 100 years ago, there was a suspicion that maybe mathematics is not standing on a good foundation. There was a fear that maybe we'll suddenly manage to prove some statement that contradicts a previous statement or one of our assumptions, one of axiom. And then the whole logical validity of mathematics will evaporate. If you set off a set of axiom and you build proof upon proof and you build a big Tower of Babel, and at the top you find a proof that basement does not exist, then then it falls. So there was this fear. So they said, remember my question, what is the previous name of Aunt Hilary? Aunt Hilary. Oh. It's relevant here, but I will go on. So there was an attempt to reformulate mathematics on such a good foundation that it will never fall. To build the Tower of Babel, such it will never, that God himself will not be able to topple it down. So this used set theory. Set theory was the means by which they reinvented mathematics from scratch to build the old tower upon it. And this is why some education thought that this is how you should start teaching children mathematics. So they restated the whole of mathematics, and they wrote a book about it. And they were about to publish the book. And as the book was in press, came Mr. Gödel and toppled the tower down.
Yeah, so I've heard that Gödel like challenged a lot of traditional mathematics.
It's not challenge, it's logic. They were building a tower and he proved that it's standing on thin air.
Yeah, like it was like that Bertrand Russell and Alfred North Whitehead were writing the Principia Mathematica, and then Gödel's incompleteness theorem showed that you can't derive mathematics from logic because there's true but unprovable axioms in these formal systems.
Yeah. So mathematics doesn't stand on a firm basis, and physics is standing on mathematics, but that's all we have.
Okay. So are you saying that the reason that, and so do you think that people should learn set theory from a young age because it'll be a way to put mathematics on a firmer basis?
No, I said that certain bad people took 6 years old me and stuffed set theory into my young and unsuspecting mind.
Okay. And you think that's a bad idea?
Not if I have the mental resources to deal with the fact that I will fail.
Okay.
Because I got to this infinite business. And when set theory got me to this infinity business, my 6 years old me failed miserably. But I could tackle it. I had the mental resources to not to get emotionally damaged by my failure.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you think that it's okay to teach it but only if the kids have the mental resources. to-
Okay. Ixnon says that Google told me that Aunt Hillary is an until but no other name. Close but no cigar. There is a previous name to Aunt Hillary, being an anthill or not. I'm not disputing the fact that Aunt Hillary is an anthill. I'm still insisting that it has a previous name. So look further, Mr. Google. Yeah. Where were we?
Oh, I was just asking just to make sure you thought it's not a good idea unless the kids have mental fortitude to teach them set theory, because you need mental fortitude because you're likely to fail.
No. The social issue is that if your whole age group is not studying set theory, and you are one of a select group that is chosen to be taught set theory, then you are being separated from your age group. And it's a judgment here whether the kids can handle it or not.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that explains why I've always had trouble socializing with kids my age, because I've always been interested in adult things.
Yes for you, vice versa. If you are not separated from the kids to begin with, if you're just a normal child and you become the unique child who out of all his class knows set theory, either it works out or it doesn't.
Mhm.
More likely, it will be considered such a trivial matter and not important matter that it will cause no real harm.
Yeah, I looked it up and it says that her previous name was Anteater, but I don't know what else.
And what?
Anteater.
No. That's a problem with using artificial intelligence or artificial Google. Anteater is a character in a Socratic dialogue. I mean, just a character participating in Socratic dialogue. And he is there as an expert on ant hills, because an anteater is an expert on ant hills. And he is telling a story about his acquaintance with Aunt Hillary, which is indeed is an ant hill. But you still have not told me the previous name of Aunt Hillary. And I'm just enticing you and triggering you to read the book, am I not?
Yeah. Are there any mathematicians who you respect as you did in Gödel? Are there any like mathematicians who've influenced how you see mathematics, Yoav?
Hilbert.
Hilbert. David Hilbert? Yeah, I've heard of him. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him though.
Remember, I'm not a mathematician. Don't ask me any more questions because you will reveal my ignorance.
Okay. I wonder if I'm gonna need to know a lot of math if I go and become an actor. I'd imagine I would. Yeah.
I would know.
So have you been watching anything interesting recently, Yoav, in terms of TV or movies or anything?
Yes. Channel 14.
Channel 14. Wait, what the heck is Channel?
It's an Israeli thing. It's an Israeli television channel. It's the best suspense series to be seen this year. Young God, yes. Ant Hill, Ant Colony, Ant Hillary. Yes, you get the joke. Now, you almost have all the information. It's all in the book. I did not invent it.
Okay, so I looked up Channel 14 and it said it's a
No.
right-leaning Israeli.
Don't.
Okay.
It's the insane conspiracy theory, false information, Israeli right. Except it is right. Yon Good, which mathematician is my favorite? I just told you.
Cantor?
No, I just told you. Are you
Hilbert.
listening to me? Huh?
You said Hilbert?
Yes. And what is Hilbert?
David Hilbert? Is his
No,
name?
it's an anthill.
Oh, Anthill.
Yes, it's another anthill. Hilbert is another anthill. And actually, it's the same anthill as before that anthill was called Antillery, it was called Hilbert. In the book, I'm just quoting the book. Am I triggering your interest already?
Kind of.
Okay, gentlemen. Mark Lefebvre is going to be streaming soon, and I am taking my dog to the park.
And I'm going to sleep perhaps at 2 o'clock.
You should go to sleep. Sleeping is good. Final words, Kirk.
Have
Final words.
a good Shabbos.
Why, thank you. Yoav.
The point of the story. Hilbert was an anthill, and he was a talented mathematician. But then some storm disturbed the order of the anthill, and the mind of the anthill changed. Although no arts were harmed, the order has changed, and Hilbert has become Antillery. And Antillery is not a famous mathematician anymore, and she cannot recover the talents of Hilbert, although she's made of the same ants. That's the point of the story.
Any final words, Jacob?
Nope. I think that's it. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Don't do anything I would do. Where's the? I'm going to use host's prerogative to put the Reverend Parcells to bed because he does need to get up in the morning.
Sorry, Reverend. Thank you.
But before he goes, I have a question. Let's say, God forbid, that I were to burn somebody at the stake for not being a Trinitarian. And I did not repent of that. Is that a salvation issue?
Sometimes Jacob takes
There's a
that devil's
proverb.
advocate thing too
Isn't there
far.
a proverb that says something like, "Don't answer a fool according to his folly."
But there's a proverb that says, answer a fool according to his folly.
There is. Exactly right. And I'm going to leave it to you guys to determine, which of those was applicable in this situation as I go. So, but anyhow, good.
Thank you, Reverend.
Good to
Thank
chat
you.
with you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
The